Howdy y'all, thank you for joining us today for this playthrough of Marvel Champions the card game. I ain't gonna lie, not sure how this is gonna do. Weird thing about this game, I enjoy playing this game a lot, this definitely fixes my magic fix to where I just feel like I do not need to play magic anymore because it lets me build a deck, which is what I hate. I know a lot of people that's what you like doing in these type of games. You like deck brewing, you like doing things. I do not like doing it because I overthink a lot. I'm more of a put the stuff I want to play together, find out what works, remove and add, which is what's going to happen here because I'm pretty sure this is an aggression deck, which if you've watched my videos before, you know I don't play much aggression. So this was more of a aggression deck with a lot of allies in it. So I'm sure a lot of allies are going to get taken out of this. I just got tired of building and was like, let's get to playing. I want to play. So with that, let's get to me from talking and let's play. So yeah, I just got done playing Gamora, the starter. And I kind of been saving up the Guardians from all these, wanting to build a Guardians deck, just because I think it would be cool to just have the way the Guardians just work. I like a lot of them. So I decided to just throw it in here. I'm hoping when Drax comes out, we'll get the other ones, because I noticed Gamora and Star-Lord are still missing. And that's just using the Guardians from the movies, basics. Guess I could have grabbed Cosmos from... But I threw him in my Doctor Strange deck until they errata that. There just seems to be some craziness there that seems really good. Anyways, it's not like busted like everyone's saying. It's just something that kind of works really good with Doctor Strange. Alright. Yeah, so we're going to try this Gamora deck out. She starts with 10. I have not made the hero or the villain deck yet, so we are going to be doing a cut while I make that real fast, but I wanted to hit the randomizer while y'all were on here so we could find out surprisingly together. So I'm going to hit it in the randomizer here. This was just me testing to see if it works. Here we go. Absorbing Man, which we did last time. Well, that's what came up. So we got Absorbing Man with Legions of Hydra. Alright, let me go grab all that. Let's shuffle all this together. Actually, before we shuffle, if I remember right, he has something. Discard cards from the encounter deck until an environment is discarded. Put that card into play and shuffle the encounter discard pile. Alright, I think I gave this a few good shuffles. Alright, cut it here. Discard cards from the encounter deck until an environment is discarded. So we're looking for an environment. Oh, there's one right there. Alright. Put that card into play and shuffle the encounter discard pile into the encounter deck. Alright, so this one's going into play. It's the Abandoned Facility. Basically gives him the metal trait, and then as a force response, after Absorbing Man makes an undefended attack against me, I discard one resource icon from my hand. 2 resource icons instead if there are 5 or more delay counters on the main scheme. So the way he works is his main scheme's going to basically add delay counters each turn. It's basically a time thing. He's going to become much harder as he goes. So normally, yes, Surge would happen whenever you play the card, but this didn't say on the back to play the card. It said just put it straight into play. So it is in play, and this is the environment. So if this is your first time to join me, what I'm going to do is kind of go through the steps on the first turn, just so that you can kind of follow along. But it's a simple enough game. It's more of just like any other of these card games, all the little intricacies and keywords and whatnot. But alright, the last part is setup. Yep, I know I say alright a lot. The last part of setup is going to be to draw up to my hand size, which is 6. Just giving this a few more shuffles, and then we'll get right into it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I did build this as an aggression, like I said, but I am not used to building an aggression deck, so I've got a feeling there's a lot more allies in here than really need to be in here. But I'll just use them as resources. Alright, so the 6 cards I drew. Yeah, drew 3 allies out of my first 6 cards. Might have too many. No, I think there was only 8 in the whole deck, which is still a lot out of 42 cards, I think is what I built it to. But still, drawing 3 of them right off the bat. I don't think they're all coming out. Alright, so the beginning of the game, the way this works is I am trying to knock out Absorbing Man twice. He has 2 stages here, stage 1 and stage 2. He had 14 hit points per number of players. So when I knock him out on his 14 hit points, we'll go to his second one, which is going to be 15 hit points per number of players. And then if I knock him out again, we win. We lose and he wins if he can pull off this scheme, which is basically none shall pass. He's just basically challenging us. Yeah, they don't have a story on there, so he's basically just challenging us to come and beat him. And I'll show how he's going to be putting threat on here, and if he gets 12 threat on here, because it's 12 per number of players, he wins. Or if he manages to knock me out, he wins. So we're going to be going back and forth of me trying to knock him out twice, and him either trying to knock me out or to pull off his scheme. So we'll get right into it. We've already drawn my cards. So right off the bat, the first thing I would do after drawing my cards is I would get what's called a mulligan, which I might actually take, having drawn this many allies. And what the mulligan system, or mulligan rule is in this game is I can discard any number of cards I wish to discard, and then I'm going to draw back up to my hand of 6. So basically it just lets me get rid of things I know I'm not going to play anyways. But if you've also played with me, you know I typically just don't take mulligans because I try to build my decks to where they just, you know, I gotta react to what it is. Plus also, mulligans digging through your deck, so just getting you that good start. And I guess if you know the way your deck's supposed to work, mulligan is good because it lets you get that starting hand or maybe get those starting cards you need to make your hand good or deck good. But I'm gonna keep my cards. Now that we've done the mulligan, we go into our hero phase. And on our hero phase, we're just going to be doing actions until we choose not to do actions anymore or cannot do actions anymore. One of the actions you could do are just actions that are on cards that you have out on your board. Like in this case with Gamora. She has an action that says I can look at the top card of my deck, and if that card is an attack or thwart event, I can draw it. So we're going to go ahead and make my first action be to look at the top card of my deck and see if it's an attack or thwart event. It is an event and it is an attack, so I get to draw this card, giving me an additional card in my hand. Another thing you can do on your turn as an action is you can switch from alter ego form to your hero form or vice versa, but you can only do it once per turn. So I'm going to go ahead and switch to my hero form. And now she has finesse and precision, which are responses. The response for finesse is if I play an attack event, she gets to remove a threat from the scheme. And her precision response is if I play a thwart event, she gets to deal 1 damage to an enemy. Her responses really aren't going to do too much on the first turn, considering there's no threat on the scheme at the moment. But now that I think of it, there was definitely a game I played before where it started out with a little bit of threat on the scheme, so I guess she could be pretty decent. So another action you could do is you could play cards from your hand. The cost of the card is seen up here at the top, and that tells you that's how many resources you have to spend in order to play this card. On the bottom of every card, they have resources. So what you would do is you would just discard the card to get the resource. So in this case, I want to play Bug. It costs me 2 resources. So I'm going to discard these 2 resources. And then now I get to put Bug into play. Bug is an ally who basically acts like me in some way, and he has a hero response that after my hero makes a basic attack, I get to heal 1 damage from Bug. Okay? And you do have a limit of only 2 allies you can have it, or I'm sorry, 3 allies you can have in play at one time. I don't know why I was thinking, I was thinking 2 because I put on, I know this is damage counters, but I like to go ahead and put their hit points on them, so he has 2 hit points. Next, this is one I was pretty much thinking of getting rid of my deck anyways. I just wanted to try it just for giggles, but I want to bring out the Hulk. Costs 2. 2. Actually, I'm going to change that and yeah. I'm going to discard these 2. That lets me bring out Hulk. Hulk is another ally, but his force response is that after he attacks, I discard the top card of my deck, and I look at the resource thing, and that's going to tell me what I have to do. 50% of those resources pretty much discard the Hulk. So, but he has 5 hit points. I just realized I put him in the deck and he's a Guardian. I was wanting to build a Guardian deck anyways, which is another reason I was thinking about getting rid of Hulk and some of the other allies that are in here because they're not Guardians anyways. So another action you can do is called a basic action. For your basic action, you could choose to exhaust your character to thwart the scheme and remove a number of threat equal to the number here. Of course, I'm not going to do that right now because there's no threat on the scheme. But you can also exhaust your character to attack a bad guy, and you would do this much damage. Or when you're being attacked, you can exhaust your hero, or I should say character, and you get to reduce the attack that is being done to you by this number here. Now normally I say all that so I can go into an attack or a thwart, but there's a reason why I'm not going to that right now. And it has to do with Bug. So the way allies work, and that's the reason I went into the description about the basic actions, is allies do the same thing, but they can only thwart or attack. But the difference is when they thwart or attack, after they thwart or attack, they have these little consequence stars on them. So after they thwart or attack, they have to take whatever consequence stars for doing whatever action they did. In the case of defense, the reason they don't have a defense is they pretty much just take it in the face and just take all the damage they can take. So the reason I didn't go, normally I go into it by attacking or thwarting with my character and then do it with these, but Bug has this that after a hero makes a basic attack, I get to heal him. So of course I want to go with him first. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and attack with Bug and have him attack Absorbing Man. So he attacks Absorbing Man for 1 damage. Absorbing Man takes 1 damage. And then Bug takes 1 consequence damage for doing that, because there's 1 star there. Just realized I definitely do not like Hulk. I saw deal 1 damage to each. I was thinking to each enemy. No, it's to each character. So unless I get a fist, this is going to go bad for me with Hulk. Well, let's go ahead and go to Gamora. Gamora's going to go ahead and exhaust to attack Absorbing Man also, so she'll attack him for 2. Taking him to 11. And then she doesn't have any consequence stars, but Bug's response kicks in, which heals him for 1 damage. And then I'm going to have Hulk attack. for 3 damage. Taking Absorbing Man to 8. And then he takes a consequence star or damage for doing that. And then after Hulk attacks, discard the top card of your deck. If that card's printed resource has, I believe it's Instinct, which says deal 1 damage to each character. Boo. One damage to me. I'm assuming Hulk's a character also, and then he just now re-damaged Bug. Way to go, dum-dum. Hulk not care. And I just wanted to double check, and I was correct. At least he does 1 damage. It is, so I was thinking correctly to each character. Absorbing Man is a character also, so he would take 1 damage also. That at least makes him a little better if he is your only ally, I guess. Alright, when you have no more actions to do or no more that you want to do, you go to your end step. The first part of your end step is you can discard any card you want from your hand. In this case, I want to keep this one because I'm pretty sure I'm going to end up taking some damage after this. Or do I just let him knock out Hulk? No, I'm going to go ahead. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and discard this card. So after you choose what you're going to discard, you draw up to your hand size. Now, before I draw up, I am going to go ahead and keep Momentum Shift in my hand. I only have 2 in the whole deck, and I kind of want to see how that works with her. Actually, I don't even have 2. I think it's the only one in the whole deck. I need to get more of these. Alright, so we're going to draw 4 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. After you draw up, you unexhaust all your cards. And we go to the villains phase. Now, for the villains phase, the first thing he does is he adds a number of threat equal to the acceleration marker, which is right here. So it says 1 per number of players, so he's going to add... Oh, this one did start with 2 threat. This might have been the one I was thinking of. I'm sorry, I did forget. Right here at the bottom it says it starts with 2 threat per player. So there was already 2 threat on there. Game state has changed. Alright. So, yes, he adds 1 threat per number of player per the acceleration counter. Sorry, that threw me off because I just looked over there. I'm not used to seeing that 2 there. Alright. Next, the villain activates. And the villain does an activation equal to whatever state my character is in. If my character is in its alter ego form, then it's going to scheme and add more threat to the scheme. If my character is in hero form, then he's going to attack. In this case, my character is in hero form. So I have to choose now if I want to defend or have one of my allies defend for me. But I have to keep in mind, he does have this abandoned facility in play over here, which says that if he makes an undefended attack against me, so if no one defends, then I have to discard one resource card from my hand. Icon from my hand. Ugh. Use my words like a big boy. So basically I have to discard a card. I'm going to have Hulk defend, so he exhausts. And now, when a villain does an attack, they do this much damage too, and then they get what's called a boost card. So we're going to flip this over, and we're looking for boost icons down here. And that's the additional pluses that he's going to get to his damage. If there is a star, like there is in this case, you have to look up here and look at the star underneath the line, and it's going to tell you what else happens in that attack. So in this case, he's doing 2 plus 2, so he's doing, 2 plus 2, so in this case doing 4 damage, and if Absorbing Man has the ice or metal trait, give him a tough status card. So he has the metal trait, so he's going to get a tough status card. And what a tough status card is, it's basically this card goes on him, and the next time this character would take any amount of damage, instead, I would just discard this card. Alright, so 4 damage to Hulk. He only has 3 hit points, so he takes it all and gets KO'd. After the villain goes, then all of the minions that are in play activate. In this case, there are no minions. So then we go to what's called the encounter phase. Each player is dealt 1 encounter card, and then they play all encounter cards they have on them. In this case, I've got the 1, so now I'm going to play my encounter card, which is Madam Hydra comes into play. So she is a minion that's going to come into play. She's going to have 6 hit points. And then Madam Hydra cannot take damage while the Legions of Hydra's side scheme is in play. As a force response, after Madam Hydra schemes or attacks, place 2 threat on the Legions of Hydra's side scheme. So right now, the Legions of Hydra side scheme is not in play. But if it does come into play, she's going to become kind of dangerous. And normally, whenever I gotta figure out this Claire problem. But anyways, I know, I keep saying that, but one day I will have it figured out. So anyways, for now, she is just going to be real tough with 6 hit points. And I need to take care of her before that side scheme comes into play. Normally, these minions would just attach and come over here and they're engaged with my character. But since I'm playing solo, I just like to put everything up in the villain area. Alright, after that, the first player marker switches to the next player. In this case, I'm the only player, so we won't be messing with that. And then that's the entire game. It may seem like a lot, but really isn't. It's pretty much I play my actions, see if I knock him out. If I don't, then he's going to go through all of his stuff, and I got to see what I got to overcome for the next turn and so forth. I'm going to go back. I did forget one thing. I forgot to add the 1 delay counter to him. Which is basically, like I said, it's kind of like a thing that's going to make his environments more dangerous and whatnot. So the first thing I'm going to do on my turn is play Clobber here. It costs me 2. Going to discard 2. And what Clobber does, it's an event. It's a hero action, so I have to be in my hero form. Hero action attack, it deals 3 damage to an enemy, and if this is the first card I have played this round, which it is, return this card to my hand. So we're going to do 3 damage. I'm going to choose to do it to Madam Hydra. And then this goes back to my hand. Also, Gamora has a response that after I play an attack event, because of finesse, I can remove 1 threat from a scheme. So I'm going to remove 1 threat from the scheme. And that is limited once per phase. I'm going to go ahead and play Clobber again. Paying these 2. Now this time it is not the first card played, so it is going to get discarded. But I will do 3 damage, and I'm going to choose to do it to Madam Hydra again, which will take her out. And then this goes away. I do not get to do the finesse again because it is limited once per phase. I will choose to exhaust Gamora and attack Absorbing Man for 2. Since he has toughness, it just gets rid of the tough. And he takes no damage. But the hero response for Bug is it allows him to heal for 1 damage. And I'm going to go ahead and have Bug attack Absorbing Man for 1 damage. And then he takes 1 consequence damage for doing such. I'm going to choose to switch Gamora from her hero form to her alter ego form. And I'm going to go ahead and do the action. It says look at the top card of my deck. If that card is an attack or thwart event, draw it. It is an event. It is an attack and a thwart. So I draw it. With that, we're going to move to my end step. I am going to keep this in my hand because I think this is really good with her. And we're going to draw up to my hand size of 6. So 1, so I'm going to draw 5. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 because of my hand. I just realized I should have just been counting how many I was drawing since I was drawing 5. But that puts me at 6 cards in my hand. We unexhaust. We go back to the top. He will add 1 threat per player. He will add a delay counter. And then now, since Gamora is in alter ego form, he will choose to scheme. So it just works just like the attack where he's going to do 1 plus 0. So he's just going to add 1 threat to the scheme. And then we deal an encounter card. And then we do the encounter, which is my obligation. So this gets given to Gamora immediately if it's the encounter. And what it says is, I may flip to alter ego form and then I choose. I can exhaust my alter ego, remove unfulfilled destiny from the game, or I can choose and discard 2 events from my hand and then discard this obligation. Let me look at my hand. I'm going to choose to do the second option, which is choose and discard 2 events from my hand. 2 events from my hand. And then all that does is discard this obligation. And the only reason you sometimes want to remove it from the game is if you're going through this deck regularly, because if you are going through the encounter deck, you may not want this to come up again. In this case, I'm hoping I can knock him out before I get through the encounter deck. So, and I had the events to spare. Kinda. They were all expensive. So with that, we go back to the beginning of my turn. I'm going to start off with the action of looking at the top card of my deck and see if it's an attack or thwart event. It is not. It is an ally, so it just goes right back on top. It is Groot. I'm going to flip to my hero form. This is why I think this is really good for her. I'm going to choose to do hit and run, paying 3. As you can see, this one has 2 on the bottom of it. And what hit and run is, it's an event, and it's an attack and a thwart event. So it should trigger both of my responses, because my responses say, after you play an attack event, remove 1 threat from a scheme. After you play a thwart event, deal 1 damage to an enemy. Well, this is an event, it's an attack event, and a thwart event. That's the way I read it. So, as a hero action, I am dealing 2 damage to an enemy and removing 2 threat from a scheme. And then that's going to trigger both. I'm just going to save some time here. That's going to trigger both my responses and basically make this 3 damage and 3 threat. So 3 threat and 3 damage. I am going to choose to exhaust to do a basic attack against Absorbing Man for 2 damage. That will heal Bug for 1. And then I'm going to have Bug attack Absorbing Man, knocking him out. So taking him to his stage 2. Says here, Absorbing Man gains the trait of each environment in play, which he already had. But when revealed, if Super Absorbing Man is in play, deal 1 encounter card to each player. Super Absorbed Man is not in play. If I remember right, it's like a side scheme. Otherwise, search the encounter deck and discard pile for Super Absorbing Power and reveal it. Shuffle the encounter deck if it was searched this way. So we gotta go find Super Absorbing Power. While we're doing all this, I do not want to forget to do the consequential damage to Bug, so I'm gonna go ahead and do it now. It is not in the discard, so we gotta go look through the deck. Alright, Super Absorbing Power. And it is a side scheme. So what a side scheme is it's basically a scheme that usually just makes the game more difficult as long as the scheme is in play. So it's going to start out with 3 scheme or 3 threat per number of players, so 3 threat. And then in this case, it's going to absorb man gains the ice, metal, stone, and wood traits. So he has all the traits that he needs, like when those other cards were saying, if he has this trait, he gets this. If he has this trait, he gets this. So yes, as long as this is in play, this is going to be a pain in the butt against him. So I just have to choose whether it's worth just knocking him out, which I need to give him his 15 hit points, or do I need to take out that scheme? In multiplayer, it's usually easier to get rid of the scheme first. Solo play, it seems like it's always the option of just take him out. Alright. So super absorbing power comes into play. Put 3 threat on it. So I had some flavor text there. Krill has the ability to absorb the properties of multiple elements at once, but it requires intense concentration. Well, it ain't like I have any options anyways. That's pretty much going to stay in play because I have no more actions I want to do. I do want to keep this in my hand. So we're going to drop to my hand size of 5. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We unexhaust. It's going to add a threat to the scheme. Add another delay counter. I am in hero form, so he's going to choose to attack. I am not going to defend, so 2, 3, 4, 5 damage. And there's that Legions of Hydra side scheme. I have to do the abandoned facility because it says after absorbed man makes an undefended attack against me. So he just made it and I did not defend. So I was technically supposed to do this before revealing the damage. So I'm going to discard 1 resource. Just realized I forgot to give him his hit points. I'm going to play cross counter. Paying 1 for it. It is a hero interrupt, so I can only do it in hero form. But it's a hero interrupt when I would take any amount of damage, reduce that damage, prevent 3 of that damage, and then I deal 1 damage to an enemy and remove 1 threat from a scheme. And this is another one just like that other one where it's going to trigger my responses because these are limited once per phase. You have your hero phase and your villain phase. So, first I'm going to prevent 3 damage, so it was 5 damage minus 3, so I'm going to take 2 damage. Then I'm going to do 1 damage and remove 1 threat, and then my finesse and my precision are going to kick in, doing an additional damage and an additional threat. I don't think I need to, but I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to remove 2 threat from there, and then do the 2 damage to him. And now we go to the encounter phase. And steel kick. When revealed, I'm in hero form. I take 3 indirect damage. 4 indirect damage instead if absorbing man has the metal trait. He does have the metal trait. So he's going to do 4 indirect damage. And the way indirect damage works is it spreads out amongst all my stuff. So it means 2 damage to Gamora and 2 damage to Bug since it's 4. That's going to be enough to finish off Bug. Well, he stuck around as long as he could. And then I'm going to take another 2. I just realized I thought I had a way to prevent that damage, but I accidentally discarded it. I wasn't paying attention to what I discarded. Nope. Nope. Alright, so that means we're going to take another 2 damage. Maybe I should have kept that heal. Alright, with that we go back to the beginning of my turn. I'm going to do acrobatic move. It is an event attack. Deal 2 damage to an enemy. So I'll do 2 damage to absorbing man, taking him to 11. And then my finesse response lets me remove 1 threat from a scheme. So I'll get rid of super absorbing power. I will have Gamora attack absorbing man for 2 damage. I'm going to go ahead and switch to my alter ego form. I'm going to do her action to look at the top card of my deck. I don't know why I did that. It's just going to go right back on top, because it ain't like there's an event I could have played anyways. Alright, we'll go to my end step. I'm going to keep this card in hand and draw up. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Unexhaust. He's going to add a threat and a delay counter. I am in alter ego form, so he is going to scheme for 2, 3. I deal myself an encounter card, and we deal with it. It is an attachment. We attach this to Absorbing Man. Basically gives him +1 scheme and +1 attack. As a hero action, I can spend a physical resource to shuffle this card into the encounter deck. Well, so I can either do that or see if I could just knock him out this turn, which I'm hoping I can do. We will see. So we go back to my turn. We're going to use Gamora's action to see if there's an attack or thwart event on top of my deck. There is, so this goes, I get to draw it. We are going to switch to my hero form. Alright, I'm going to play Hit and Run here, which is, and pay these 3 for it. Oh. And that is going to be a hero action that will deal 2 damage to an enemy and remove 2 threat from a scheme. And it will trigger my responses for both of them, once again, making them 3 and 3. So I'll do 3 damage to Absorbing Man and remove 3 threat from a scheme. I'm going to choose to thwart with Gamora, so I get to remove 2 threat from the scheme. And then I'm going to choose to do Decisive Blow, discarding these 2. I could have just done this without removing threat, but I wanted to do something else instead of just ending it. But here we go. Hero action, attack, deal 4 damage to an enemy, 7 damage instead if you have played a thwart event this turn, which I played a thwart event, so it is 7 damage to Absorbing Man, which KOs him. So that worked out a little better than I expected it, but yeah, pretty sure Hulk's got to go, and I do like playing this deck. I surprisingly, like I said, I mentioned it in the playthrough I did with Gamora already. I like responsibilities, and I was actually surprised. I did not think I was gonna. I liked Gamora in the comics. I was not a huge fan of her in the movies. So I don't know. Maybe I just wasn't hyped when I thought she was coming out. I thought Star-Lord would be the one I'd really want to play, but after playing them, this was the one I enjoyed. I don't know if I'm going to... I do need to get rid of some of the allies in here. I think she's more dangerous if you just get rid of some of those allies. Now, Bug was kind of interesting. It was cool to see what he could do. Since I knew she was going to be attacking every turn anyways, it was like, sure, why not? Yeah, that was cool. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.